Hey everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I am back on with the intent of getting some crop into this field. So given that I'm a bit late, I've got a limited amount of options. I could go ahead and plant corn or sunflowers, but then I'm dealing with a bunch of different things later. So I'm going to go ahead and do soybeans. And that can get in today with obviously the hope that then I'll still have a harvest. And since I don't need something that gives me straw, it'll work out just fine. So I've been, obviously just trying to keep up with things. Hold on. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. No, alright, I guess I'm okay. Because, yeah, basically, I know soybeans don't really need fertilizer. So I think that's what is happening right now. You can see crop does not require fertilizer, is what it is saying. But I just wanted to make sure I didn't have a problem with the field where somehow it was needing to be sampled again. That would be really fast, but stranger things have happened to me, so I figured just let's make sure. And I think we're gonna in some cases have more fertilizer than we need, but yeah, you can see we've got 20 or 10 or something, so that may impact a little bit of our environmental score at the end. I'm not quite sure. I know over-fertilization is not good, but I don't know if it's such a trivial amount, if it's going to take it out on me. Before I get to the end of the field, let me get my line set. So as always, I'll be able to get the crop in, and then tomorrow I'm going to need to fertilize, or not fertilize, do herbicide to go after the weeds. Alright, so we'll see if I can get everything lined up here. So let me kind of set everything, turn it, and then we need to get to the edge of the field, and we should be all set. And then I can kind of go ahead and just move up and down the field now that I've done the headlands here. But this should be pretty quick, because the other benefit of soybeans is it does not consume a lot of seed. I mean, I still have almost 75% of the seed capacity there anyway, but it may have not been enough for a different type of crop. I am losing my mind today. Alright, so field is still painting a little bit. Now, I guess I can go ahead and not full on milk. Uh-oh, I ran out of food again. It's crazy how fast this is starting to happen. I don't understand. I thought I was in good shape. So silage is still cranking out. But what I probably am going to do right now then is I'm going to divert and get stuff into the cow barn, because then as time rolls over, I'm not going to have a problem, and I can again start replenishing things. So let me turn this off. I believe my crampy is, yeah, it's sitting over there. And I think I recall in the last day or two, whenever I was on last, that I had noticed it was low. It looks like hay for sure. Honestly, it looks like almost everything is low. Good news is I'm at least in a position now to handle that with the silage, where otherwise I would have really been not in a great spot. But let's get back here enough, hop out, get myself connected, and then go and get ourselves some hay, and that should start production pretty quickly, so. But what I haven't gotten into yet is I haven't gotten back into the habit. So when I was on the, the older maps, Shellbrook or Seneca at that point, I usually would pop in every morning and just kind of do an assessment, sync up the server, and see if in the assessment I determined, oh yeah, there's this kind of work I need to do today. Now again, generational farming has been kind of messing with stuff there. Alright, let me get hay. And I'm also frankly worried. I did not check my generational farming server yet. That's next on the agenda after I do what I need to do here. Sorry for the heavy sound being inside the sound tunnel of the hayloft. But once I get things moving, you know, I may not get everything planted. I mean, my goal is certainly to do that, but my hope is today to take a peek, because I'm worried I missed my sell points in generational farming. I think I was in good shape because I think I was on in December, and I think it might be a couple days because basically, you know, we had Mother's Day and I spent time with my wife instead of sitting here and spending time playing Farming Simulator, so that should just be a day, because I was on Saturday, I believe, but I don't recall. But because I'm out of the habit, let me make sure now, because I probably really need to look and again do an assessment. But yes, it was the hay, so we should be okay. But I need, what, silage is down to 50, so I mean I can do 5-6 loads of silage, but yeah, I can do another load of hay, a load of straw, so that will be what I'm gonna go ahead and do now. But what I really need to do, I think, to avoid continuing this terrible habit of suddenly realizing, darn it, I missed what I wanted to do, because I really was hoping that I'd be back in here in May, and then I would have kind of the world as my oyster as to what I wanted to go ahead and proceed with and plant. But obviously I missed that, and it's actually in the afternoon now, so the server sync is off quite a bit, so I need to make sure I get that set too, because that's certainly not helping anybody as well. So the other FM, it looked like they were logged in, but I said hi to them when I popped on, as you can see, but they may have stepped away for a bit. Again, it's just after lunch and so forth, so they may have gone to eat, and whoops, I like left really fast. Oh boy, you can't take me anywhere. Like, not even full. I don't know why I thought it was done already, but clearly that's what I thought. Oh good. Now I thought I could kind of clean it up, and I didn't, and now I'll probably have a hard time pulling straight through. It's just going to be a terrible result, is my guess. Just trying to get out of the tunnel again, so that you're not listening to extreme loudness if you don't have to. Alright, so then we'll get straw, but this may be 3 of 3 already on the grass then, which should mean then if I want that tomorrow or the day after, certainly I can go ahead and generate some hay, because that's really what I need to do next. I'm not dangerously low, but obviously I'm below 700,000 liters now, and so just so that I'm not suddenly fighting against a clock that I'm terrible at managing right now, I would go ahead and make some changes there. So yeah, the most critical thing here is going to be the silage, so I'm going to go ahead and do that next, because the silage and the hay consume at the high levels. The straw is actually much slower, and so having the same amount of hay as or straw as I have silage, the straw would last, the silage would run out. But even if I get just 2 loads of silage over, you know, it's going to put me at 150,000. You know, I can fill this to 347, but if I look at what I have in the silo, I've only got like 300,000 that is ready to go here. So if I could fill it, I think I just could fill it. And right now, like anything, I'm kind of in a small window where I could pop in here, do a little bit, and so that's why I figured I'll do that. I knew planting was something I had to pay attention to if I was going to go with it. And you've seen the result. So just always is amazing to me how slow this fermenting silo fills compared to anything else. You know, and I don't think, certainly you can see it's not really the position I was in. I guess it's a tiny bit faster now, so maybe I was a little too close to the front where I was just kind of getting half of the spigot or something that was able to fill. But it's still like barely over a second a percent, so that means I'm sitting here for almost a minute and a half or so to fill this. So now you understand a little bit of why, when I've got a small window, it gets difficult to come back and do everything I need to do, because I want to spend the other 20 minutes or so I have planting. And so I may just do this load and then come back later, or have the intent to come back later, because that has been my problem. Like, I'll come back later, but then I'm like, oh, but I need to go do this. And so I am becoming a poor steward of my farms. That is for sure, because at this point, it's not as if one farm is causing me to stumble on the other. It's just life is causing me to stumble on several things. So I just may have to rethink some things on the game to determine what makes sense. Did I really leave the trigger point? Come on. Alright, I guess I did. But this will at least give me enough. And I will get the truck out of here, pull it clear, and then I'm going to go back to planting. Here I am. I am going to run along the top because I did determine, at least at one point, that is helpful. So I don't want to not do that. Because like here I have enough room to go and turn around, but when it gets to that higher part of the field, the more northern point, and I guess it physically is higher on the hill as well, but that's not what I meant, but it does work. When I get up there, I don't have enough room to turn before I hit the tree line to get a nice turn where I can align as I need to on my GPS track. So what I think I'll do then is just go ahead. Doesn't really matter which side of the field I'm working. So rather than waste time to come back over here, I'll just go down the west side of the field, and then we'll take it from there, and we'll just start coming back across to the center, which will work perfectly. So I think we're going to have a little bit, there's that little bit of, yeah, it's not even half a track. So I just want to make sure I'm covering everything, which I am. Alright. So we'll go here, because with the tree line I can't really snap to it, because as you can see when I get to the copse of trees down there, that's a little wider and a bit more dense, I would have to move over anyway. So I'll kind of do this. It'll work fine either way. The seeds will calculate accordingly and drop in as necessary. So, yeah, I suppose if I'm just kind of thinking through what my biggest need is, it's just getting into the habit again of checking and doing things here every day. And the doing things might simply be the checking, and that's good, but because I had so little to do here in Hobo's Hollow, because I didn't have this field for so long, so many years, so that literally turned into like 3 or 4 months in real life, the habit was broken of the possibility of something needing to happen regularly. Bit has appeared. So, and yeah, Bit's the one who's waiting for the auction, who only has field 8. It looks like they're gonna start sponsoring another server as well, but their intent is to stay on here as well, which is great. So we'll still have them as an FM here, last I heard. And you know, we'll go from there. I really have about 10 minutes left until I'm having to step away for a bit. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get this field done in that time. I'm not sure where the zero... I don't know if the zero line is where I came up. I don't think it is, so I think I've got more than 10 passes to make. But even if I had 10, it might easily be taking me a minute to go the length of the field. But obviously I'll get as far as I can. Thus far, I don't believe it has done anything with the fertilizer. If it has, it's been a liter or two here or there. Because with the crop sensor on, there is a possibility at times that things might fall. But given that the requirement is 0 for soybeans, my guess is I don't know that there would be any point where we would use any. I'm just not recalling if 5840 was the liter level that we were at when I began. I don't have that ingrained in my head. So good news is, yeah, that at least I'll get a crop in here, though. Soybeans, therefore, because it has a little bit of a longer planting window, it's also going to have a later harvest window, but this does become the risk that I have to wait till November. I more than likely will have to do that, because I think October, November is the window for harvest, but given that I'm planting on the last available planting day, my guess is that that means I'm going to be on the last harvest day. And so if somehow November is a rainy day, I potentially run the risk of having this wither in the ground because I won't be able to harvest it. But hopefully, knock on wood, we're not going to have that challenge. So there you go. We've got 0 here in the fertilization area, but we've not decreased from 5840. Now we're up to 5. Now we're back to 0. You can see kind of that dark red on the mini-map, the nitrogen scan from Precision Farming. So going back to the timing, yeah, what I should be doing is popping in on a daily basis, because what I was thinking is, in the past, what I've been able to do is, like, okay, let's say I do the weeds tomorrow, and I don't and forget the fact that I have hay that I need to take care of. Like, if I was just doing the crop, I had gotten in the habit of, all right, I know I don't need to be on for 3 or 4 days, and I would try to kind of figure out when that would be that I'd need to check in again, and then I wouldn't even appear on the server. But the problem that's starting to happen is obviously the feeding cycle for the cows is still something I've not mastered. So I thought I was in good shape. I had things, I had over 100,000 liters of every item in the cow barn, and obviously I still ran out. And looking at where I'm at, once again, I think like once it can't produce, it does start using 3,500 liters at a time. So dropping from 176.5 to the 140,000 or so I'm at, that likely means it may have been like a whole day, almost a 24 hour cycle that things have been running that way. Which then also means it's going to take that long for it to top off again. And then that puts me on that treadmill where I'm burning through more supply, and it just continues to keep me in that cycle where I'm going to then burn through silage and hay faster than I normally would, which means I need to refill it sooner than I normally would. And so I'm not getting a benefit of a clean schedule, and the way I can do that is if I come in every day and stay on top of things. That would work. Now the challenge has become, part of it is the time difference that we have here in Hobo's Hollow versus what we had in Shellbrook, where we were not offset from Eastern time at all before. So the benefit I had there, because in Farming Simulator 22 you can only sync between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. on any given day. So as long as I could get in during that time, which was super simple because it was before work hours, and I definitely could peek in at that point. But the challenge I now have with the -2 offset that we've agreed to on the server is now that window really only begins at 7 a.m. and a lot of times if I do check in, it's earlier than that. And I'm at a point then that I can't sync and keep a 2-hour window. So then I tend to procrastinate and say, yeah, I'll get in later, and then life happens and I don't get in, and that's what's gotten me kind of on this cycle. So it's not that I don't think about it every day, so at least I'm on that habit again where I'm like, oh, I really should check, but at that point I'm involved in something else, and then time slips away and the day's over and I haven't been on. I mean, even this, I knew I needed to get in today, and it's into the afternoon before I even checked. So it's like if I had been on 7 hours earlier, which I would have been up, like if I had gotten on right away, I would have been here at the tail end of May. But obviously it would have been super dark, and it's a lot easier to do things here, and I can actually use my crop sensor in the daylight here, where at night it wouldn't have worked. So yeah, but I think we can see pretty clearly we're at +6. I don't think it's 0 that I need to get to. I think I need to get to some negative number, so I'm not going to get this finished. But the work that is needed right now is get this field planted, and then I need to work on topping up the cow barn, and then I need to go check my generational farm, but obviously that's a different series. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step away for now, because I've really got nothing else to share with you, and continue for a couple more minutes as long as I can, come back, get the field done, and then I will pop back in before the end of the episode as I'm working on the cow barn and resume this up. So I will see you in a bit. Alright, so I am done planting, and I am, as you can see, now taking over a full load of cheese. So just taking it over to the saloon, which is the closest sell point, and it's more to just sell it. I'm not really always looking to maximize out, because it was full again with the dairy, so just want to get it producing again. And the good news is I think I took the last load over in December, so I now know basically at least 6 months, so at least twice a year, and I think I got like 28,000 then, and so I'm paying 5,000 a year for the permit. So I was debating whether it was worthwhile to have the production if I was not losing money, and I think I've clearly now shown, as long as I keep up with it, that I'm not, because I'm going to get about $55,000 a year for paying $5,000 for the permit, so about a $50,000 profit, so not bad. Alright, so here we are at the Circle C Saloon, and we'll get ourselves sold. We had the one, wow, that seems a lot less, 17, wow, obviously the sale price was significantly lower. Yeah, you can see April, not quite as low as May, but it's getting down there. So 1,600, where I think I was closer to 1,900 or so at that point. So, but I got, you know, a good amount less. It doesn't seem right, because I know I wasn't over 2,000, but maybe it was 25,000, because at this point I'm probably at like 18, and if I add 300 and do it, you know, times 3, that's 3,300. Times 11 is 3,300. I had a 3 in my head, but with the 300, but yeah, then that would take me from like 18 to 21, 22,000, and depending on which end of the spectrum I was at, that might be about it. But either way, even if I just made the 18,000 in a year, I'm still making a profit. So it's just a matter of, is it worth a little bit of work that I'm doing here to get it in and out? It wasn't too bad. It certainly was better loading this with the forklift during the day. But pretty much any job on the farm, or any job in most places, is better during the day. It's just easier to see things. Oops. Too early. Dairy's over here. So we'll go around the barn. But yeah, at this point, you know, we're after 8 o'clock, and that means the cow barn will have rotated once. And yeah, so we're back above 140,000 and producing. Probably should move some milk soon, in the next day or two for sure. So there will certainly be a little bit to do there, but at this point then, I am going to go ahead and go grab the straw, the one truck of straw, and then I'm going to run at least 2 or 3 more loads of silage over, I think, so that I can really get a good amount over there and take advantage of the fact that I have a much higher capacity for silage in that barn than I do for anything else. So the one thing that might be interesting to share as far as FSN status is, you know, we're in the middle of this revamp where we're not going to be able to see the auction come back for land before that's done, and we did get informed that we're likely still 2 to 6 weeks away from that being completed. So, you know, if we take the midpoint of that and say we've got at least another month probably before we're gonna have any opportunity to see the land that I want for my yard come up at all and be able to acquire that. So we're going to be doing this for the next 3 game years at least, I would think, before anything might come about that would change that situation. But yeah, always an interesting look here. This time of day, right after, you know, kind of early morning, it seems to be kind of hazy on this map. regularly, which is not bad. But now we're back to the slow filling silage. So I am going to go ahead and do that, run a couple more over. I'm still not sure I'm going to go put anything in the BGA because I'm still kind of close on that. And frankly, I think I make more out of the cows than I make out of the BGA. It's just the BGA is a little more consistent and doesn't require me to take anything anywhere after that. I just drop off the silage and I'm good to go. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. I think the slurry's still running over there, so things aren't too bad, or aren't producing at zero. It's definitely covering its cost, and at this point, like, I think I have made enough over time that I have certainly paid off the purchase of that BGA, which would always be the ultimate goal, to just not have something that I've lost money on. But I'll keep doing this for probably another 10-15 minutes before everything's done. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up at this point and, you know, let you know, obviously, if you've liked the video, if you enjoy these, I would appreciate you dropping a like. That helps the YouTube algorithm spread things. And certainly if you're not a subscriber, I'd highly encourage you to do that so that you get an easier way to come back to the channel and see what's going on here. I tend to, at this point now that I'm doing the PGA Golf, have at least one video a day, but usually I try to fill the pipeline with a little bit more of that than I can. So that way you can always very quickly find what's going on. Obviously you can hit the notification as well along with that when you're subscribed to actually be notified when new videos come up. And there is a Discord channel that also I post the video announcements on right now. It's just a really small group. I think we just broke through the 20 mark not too long ago, so not a whole lot of chatter going on. It's just not a large enough group for that, but at least there's a video announcements section on that Discord, and that may be an easy way for you to see things too. But certainly subscribing helps, you know, YouTube know this is a channel that's got some activity going on and so forth, and that kind of helps all of us. So if you would be so kind, I would definitely be thankful for that as well. And with that, I will see you next time.